Okay, so here we are just outside the main square, Przerosl. So this is primarily where the Jewish people tended to live. Jan was telling me this didn't used to be a park in the center. It used to be some sort of a house that they tore down during World War II. So now we're standing inside the park at the southernmost tip, and you can see the church over there, which is the Catholic church, and Jan's house is the house with 2 stories, and it's sort of white. And so originally, directly across from the church, and you could see some former Jewish houses, used to be the synagogue way over beside this house, down that way. But now it's just an empty field, and we'll go over there now. This right here is the site of the former synagogue that was destroyed during World War II. And Jan was telling me that the mayor of the town wants to take this site and turn it into a parking lot or something, which Jan says is really not appropriate. There should at least be some sort of a monument or something to say that this is where the synagogue was. But yeah, it's just a empty field, nothing there now. And so down that way is where the old cemetery is, which is where we'll go now. Okay, so this impenetrable looking forest up here is the former Przerosl Jewish cemetery. It's actually quite large, probably about the size of a football field, maybe a little bigger in there. But we'll get a little closer in a second. So here we are much closer, and as you can possibly see, there are the remains of the original wall that was built all the way around this. If you look closely, you can see some of the decoration. But Jan was telling me when he was young, he remembered the wall being more or less untouched, and they used to play on it. It used to be about 3 or 4 feet high, probably. And then sometime in the 70s and 80s, people in the communities were taking stones from this wall because they were good stones to use for building, and this cemetery had been abandoned since World War II. And here is a sign that was just put up recently, just denoting that this is indeed the Jewish cemetery. There was nothing here until I think about last year, so a lot of people didn't even know what this place was. They really had no idea. And also could see more of the wall. It used to form a perimeter around the entire cemetery. But as you can see, this cemetery, no one's been in here in well, almost no one's been in here for 70 years, so it's really overgrown. So it doesn't look like much, but this is the original entrance. We just came from a little way over that way, about 10 steps. Originally, Jan was saying, you could sort of see the remains of it now. These sort of red pillar things made out of brick. And Jan was saying there used to be a nice wrought iron gate into the cemetery, but now there's not much left. You can sort of see some stones and whatnot in the ground. But very dense vegetation. Almost feels like I'm going into the rainforest or something. So when we went in here a couple days ago, there were tons of mosquitoes, so hopefully it's colder today. There won't be all the mosquitoes. But this is the path you take to get in. Very overgrown. Have to be careful where I step. Not only because of potholes and things in the ground, but because there are headstones hidden under the ground too, with just the tops showing. So here are some of the first headstones. You can see little rocks like those are probably headstones. This is clearly a headstone. Can't really read the writing. It's buried pretty deep underground. So another headstone here. Another headstone over here. Very peaceful in here. Someone was nice enough, John was saying, I think it was kids from the school, as part of a project, cleared this path so that you can at least walk around in here. But the problem is these big trees like this one keep dropping seeds, so as soon as you clear some of this area, they just drop more seeds and all of these new plants start growing. So there really needs to be a professional job done to clear this place out. But this is the primary area where all the graves are. You can see some of the headstones popping out of the ground, but there are many, many more underneath. Again, I can't read Hebrew. I don't know what these say, but this is essentially untouched since 1939. As far as we know, none of these have been disturbed, but all these little rocks and things in the ground are potentially more headstones. Luckily there aren't more mosquitoes, so I can unzip my jacket. This is arguably the best headstone still here. Really, really neat design. Don't know whose ancestor this is. But really very neat. And all through here, there are headstones clearly visible, and probably many, many more underneath the ground that you can't really see that easily. But the ground is very uneven, so I don't know if that's because the ground is just shifted from graves, or if it was you can sort of see this hill right here. I assume people weren't buried on a slope originally, so I don't know if ground just fell away or what. But the plan is to fix all of this, to clear out all of this vegetation, clean up headstones, another one down here, and hopefully transcribe them and fix the wall so that people can figure out who is buried where. I assume I have plenty of ancestors buried here. Mosquito. But I don't know where they are. Again, I can't read Hebrew, which doesn't help either. You can see more headstones down here. A lot of these are pretty weathered, but it looks like still legible to somebody who's more knowledgeable than I. Again, all over the ground here, just lots and lots of stones. Many of them are probably headstones. This isn't an exit, but you can use it as such. Again, you can see more of the wall. A lot of it's been sort of taken down by people in the community, but a lot of these stones are very large, you can see. Here's another nice view of the cemetery. But hopefully one day soon we'll come up with enough money to fix this. And again, thank you to whoever cleaned this up enough so that I can walk around. I appreciate it. But even all the way that way into more of that undergrowth, I don't know if there are more graves there, but this cemetery was huge. Jan was saying that they were definitely thinking for the long term when they designated the land. I think it was officially designated by the bishop of the area about a little under 300 years ago. It was designated as official Jewish cemetery. Again, these are probably some headstones, but they're so overgrown with moss, can't barely even see them. A little stone here, more stones. You tend to see lots of lion motifs around here because that's the crest of Przerosl when it was designated as a city as part of their coat of arms. Another, again, this one's much more faded, very difficult to read. Something else over here. This one's very, very faded. Very difficult to read. Again, I have no idea if there are more graves out here. I'm not sure if Jan does either. But it goes quite far in that direction. So lots of exploring to do. There's something else here. It's definitely stone, not wood. Looks like there's something here as well. Looks like a broken one here. Again, just very peaceful clearing. There's the way out. So I'm running out of space on my phone. So I think this is it for right now.